Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait a few more minutes for a few more attendees to join, and then we'll begin. I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar showcasing Credit Hound as part of our Get More from Your Sage software series. Some housekeeping before we get started. Any and all questions can be entered into the chat box below. We love questions, and remember, only we can see your questions, so please don't hesitate to send those our way. Also, we are recording today's webinar, and in addition to sending you all a copy, we will also be posting it on our website and YouTube channel. I'm going to send it over now to Tyler from Credit Hound.
Thanks, Angela. And yes, thank you and welcome to our webinar today, all about how Credit Hound can automate your accounts receivables process and improve cash flow with Sage 300. So I'm a global partner manager here at Dracer, and I'm really excited to be working with the team at Pur-Logic to show you how we can save you days per week and get paid faster. So just a brief agenda for the session. I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to who we are, if you've not heard of us before, some common accounts receivable business challenges as well that you're likely experiencing yourselves. I'll explain how we can help solve those, and then we'll jump into a demonstration to explain exactly how. All in all, these sessions usually last around 30 to 45 minutes, so we will have ample time for a little Q&A at the end. So who are Dracer? As an organisation, we've been running since 2002, and we've actually been working with Sage ever since, helping businesses improve their cash flow. Credit Hound itself is used by thousands of organisations worldwide, varying in size from small businesses right up to your large enterprise businesses, all perhaps using Credit Hound in different ways and with different amounts of users. But ultimately, all of them have been able to improve their cash flow, with the return on investment being phenomenal. And we've now got over 10,000 organisations using our products globally and really simplifying their collections processes by leveraging Credit Hound day in, day out to automatically chase their customers for payments. Just to give you a little bit of an insight into some reasons why having an automated collections process in place is so important. Firstly, 1 in 10 invoices are paid late. And I've got no doubt that's something you would have all experienced at one point or another. You know, if you're sending out high volumes of invoices every month, that's going to have a massive impact on your cash flow. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you're sending out lower volumes of invoices, you're impacted equally because you rely on that cash flow to run your business. 93% of businesses experience late payments from their customers. So that affects almost everybody. So whether it's a few days late, a few weeks, or even a few months, this has a massive impact on your cash flow and your ability to forecast. Businesses are spending an average of 15 days per year chasing late payments. Now, whether you're a business owner juggling collections as part of your day-to-day tasks, whether you're a collections advisor yourself, or if you've got a whole team of people dedicated to collections, regardless of the size of your organisation, that's still time wasted on the administration associated with chasing cash, which arguably should just be paid on time. And sadly, that's not the case. And on average, companies end up writing off around 1.5% of their receivables as bad debt. And that's a massive figure. And simply by using Credit Hound, you can bring that figure right down as far as to 0%. Now, these are some examples of how some of our customers were dealing with their bad debt before implementing Credit Hound. And I'm sure some, if not all of these, will ring true to you too. So first of all, prioritising the largest debt first. Now, while that might seem like the most sensible way of collecting cash, what ends up happening is those smaller invoices might never ever get chased, resulting in them just being written off. Similarly, chasing debt that's most overdue. Again, theoretically, that would make sense, but that's a very reactive approach, and it will result in the newer invoices not being paid on time and just falling into the bad debt category anyway. So we'll just end up always chasing our tail. And to increase overdrafts from the bank, or even borrow money simply just to keep the business afloat. You might have to write off very old debt, and we just end up throwing away our hard-earned cash. A lot of businesses as well end up employing more staff or outsourcing their collections to a third party, which is a really expensive way of dealing with the problem, because you end up paying more money but having the same process and therefore the same challenges. And in some cases, businesses can't afford to offer credit to their customers anymore due to the lack of cash flow. So, why Credit Hound? Well, firstly, so often businesses don't actually start chasing an unpaid invoice until it's already past its due date. So if that client then has an issue or needs a copy of the invoice, or they're disputing it, we then lose another, let's say, 5 days sorting that out. By the time we get the payment, that invoice is then very overdue. But if we were proactive instead of reactive, and we reminded that customer, let's say, a week in advance, that buys us that week then to deal with any potential issues and still get paid on time, allowing us to better manage our cash forecasting. So by automating the administrative tasks associated with collections, and by proactively chasing your clients before an invoice is even due, there'll be more available cash for your business. And Credit Hound provides a really quick return on investment, meaning you'll see a difference straight away. And with consistent customer communications, you can maintain your excellent relationships with your clients whilst no longer dealing with exceeded payment terms, reactive chasing, time-consuming manual admin, bad debt, and withheld money. And just to expand on that point a little bit more and give you an idea of the amount of steps that Credit Hound can take out and automate for you. So before Credit Hound, typically we'd spend 80% of our time on admin and just 20% of our time actually chasing customers. And that's because often businesses are doing this manually. So you'll be printing age debtor reports, which are also not in real time. So by the time you've printed them out, they're instantly out of date. Transferring notes, having to check for payments, looking in their diaries to see who to call, writing letters and emails and making phone calls, liaising with colleagues internally to log and resolve disputes, tracking chase history. It's all very time consuming and admin heavy. But Credit Hound will completely flip that on its head. So it will leave you to focus on the important tasks of speaking to those clients and maintaining those relationships, and ultimately improving the business's cash flow. So why use Credit Hound? Well, firstly, it links seamlessly to Sage 300, so you don't have to duplicate or rekey any information. We've got an automated multi-level chase cycle. So this pulls through straight from Sage based on your analysis codes and categories already set up. And it allows you to email chase letters with the corresponding invoices attached. So there might be some customers who you need to be chased differently or more or less frequently than others. So for example, if you have good payers and bad payers, your good payers you probably don't need to chase as frequently, whereas your bad payers, if they notoriously pay you late, you're going to want to chase them on a more regular cadence. So we configure that back end, and Credit Hound will automatically recognise that and chase it accordingly for you. We've got an inbuilt to-do list as well, so it makes it really straightforward and easy for a collections advisor to come in, see their workload for the day, can see all the steps that have been taken to chase an invoice. And if there's multiple users, we can reassign tasks to other users as well. So if somebody is on holiday and clearly not going to be able to make their phone calls for the week or the day, then we can just reassign those to another user. So it's extremely user-friendly and easy to use. Our chase screen as well. So that allows you access to real-time account information and a complete chase audit history. So you can automate follow-up email reminders, and those reminders will automatically be removed as well as soon as a customer pays or a dispute's resolved. So we're never going to duplicate and rechase an invoice that's already been paid and upset the customer. We've got dispute tracking. So you can start to introduce a really clear process when logging disputes to ensure that they're communicated, followed up, and ultimately resolved on time with all of the relevant parties involved. Reporting. So Credit Hound offers really comprehensive reporting, so you can really analyse your efforts and highlight any debtor issues, and ultimately you can really streamline your business processes. You can create customised letters with wording and branding of your choice to send out to your clients, really maintaining that consistency and professionalism in all of your correspondence. Make the document distribution as well using our other product, Spindle Document Distribution. So we give you a free of charge license for that, and that allows you to send all of the documents via email, print, fax, or if you need to archive, and it does it all at a click of a button. So I'm going to show you that in the demonstration today as well. Now, one of the key things you'll be thinking about, and rightly so, is the return on investment. So Credit Hound really quickly saves businesses time and money. And within 3 months on this example, a business can save themselves $70,000 per year. There is a link on screen at the moment. You're more than welcome to type that in on your browser, fill in your details. So it's just a case of filling in this information displayed here. And that will show you how much money you can save within 3 months of using Credit Hound. So now we come on to Spindle Document Distribution. And as I say, this integrates seamlessly and really enhances Credit Hound. So as I said, you'll get a free license to use with Credit Hound for any Credit Hound related documents, but I'll come on to some other uses that you might have for it as well. So firstly, Spindle can send out any report from Sage, whether that be invoices, remittance advices, purchase orders, statements. And as I say, they can be delivered via email or physically printed out. We add your branding and any promotional messaging both on the document itself and within the email content. So all documents sent out are professional and consistent. We can also add attachments onto emails. So for example, if you're sending out a statement, you can automatically attach all of the relevant invoices. Or some customers actually add things like additional delivery information or opening times or marketing brochures. We can also send out emails in the correct language for your different customers and suppliers. So we can configure it so that it says, okay, this customer is in France, so we need to send everything in French. And you might even want to brand differently, or you might have different promotional messaging for customers in different countries or sectors. And finally, we can archive all these documents for you automatically into Windows folders, into CRM, into SharePoint, whatever works for you. So how does Spindle work? Well, it's extremely simple. So all you do is print a document from Sage or Credit Hound to Spindle, and based on the document you're printing, Spindle will automatically know whether you're emailing, printing, what documents to attach, the language, the messaging, the archiving, and it will distribute it automatically. So what typically takes several hours or even days per week now takes seconds. Again, likewise with the Credit Hound return on investment calculator, we've got a Spindle document distribution one as well. You know, we completely understand the ROI is absolutely critical. So again, feel free to jot down that link displayed here. Again, you can work out how much money you can save with Spindle additionally. Now let's go to the fun bit. So let's jump into the demonstration. Bear with me 1 second. Sorry, I've been logged out. It wouldn't be a live demonstration without a little error. There we go. I just need to log back on. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is Credit Hound. So this is your main dashboard. This is where you see all of your key metrics. So, for example, we can see all of our outstanding debt as a business. We can see how much cash we've got promised in this week, next week, in the future. We can see our mini age debt. We can see who's paid us in the last 7 days. We've got a complete list of all of our disputes. We've got all of our to-do items displayed on these little widgets here. And down at the bottom, we've got who has my money and where is my money. So in this kind of visual here, we can see the big red segment is our overdue, and we can see that makes up 53.05% of our debt. So we know that we need to bring this segment here down. Now, if I want to go and see what these accounts are that are overdue, I can simply just click on that red segment. I'll be taken into my accounts list, and it will only show me my overdue accounts. I can see all other manner of information as well. I can filter it down by different credit limits, for example, or the amount, and then I can export that information to Excel. So Credit Hound makes it really, really easy to get information and extract it. But the first thing that you'll want to know about is how to set up rules. So this is the automation behind Credit Hound, and this is what you'll set up first thing when you get Credit Hound to start chasing your customers. Now, where I spoke earlier about reminding a customer before an invoice is due, that's where we start looking at the preemptive letter. So you can see we've got very mild wording because actually this invoice isn't even due yet. We're just sending a friendly reminder to let them know to prepare to make payment. And we've set some parameters here as well. So we're sending this to any accounts with undisputed outstanding invoices due in the next 5 days or due yesterday, who haven't been chased in the last 7 days, and where the amount outstanding is over £1. Now, those parameters there, they're all completely customizable. So if you want different time frames, or if you want different rules for different amounts, different rules for different kinds of customers, that's absolutely fine. So we can configure all that within here. Based on the example that we've got set up in this environment, we go from the preemptive letter to chasing letter 1. And we're going to start sending it in moderate language. So our wording is going to get a little bit firmer because these invoices are now over 15 days overdue. So they're between 15 and 22 days overdue. So we're sending out another reminder to let them know this invoice still hasn't been paid. Please make payment. Now, if they still haven't made payment, another chase letter will go out. And this time the wording is going to be strong. because at this point, the invoices are now over 30 days overdue. And if that still doesn't prompt them to pay, then we've got a telephone chasing list. So in rare occasions, you're going to have emails missed and they still don't make a payment. So what this rule will do, it will automatically put entries into your calendar so you know who you need to call. So I'm going to run this rule manually, just so I can show you what it will look like in the calendar. Okay, if we open up our calendar, what we should then see on today's date is a list of automated tasks. Here we go. So that's from the telephone chasing list. So I know that I need to call all of these today because their invoices are over 30 days overdue. Now, you can see other entries in my calendar as well, and they're color coded. So we've got blue for callbacks, if people have asked us to call them back, yellow for dispute reviews, red for dispute resolves as well. But I'm going to treat this as my first activity for the day. So I'm the collections advisor, I've logged in and I can see I need to call Festival Homes. So I'm going to open up that task. I'm going to chase the account and I'll then get taken into a chase screen eventually. If I clicked it properly, there we go. So we get taken into the chase screen. So here we can see a list of all transactions. So all the invoices, whether there's credit notes, whether they're paid, unpaid, etc. Underneath that, I've got full audit history. So I can see how many automatic reminders have gone out, how many phone calls have been made, any emails have been sent, and what the customer has said back to us as well. So if I then pick up the phone, I'm completely prepared with all of the history, so I know exactly what I need to say. So if we click on this invoice, for example, I'm going to pick up the phone to her, so I'm going to hit start chase. Now I can click contacts here, so I know exactly who I need to call, Maureen Duffy, and I've got her phone number here as well. So if I rang Maureen, she's going to give me some kind of an excuse. So she's going to say, we're going to pay you on the next payment run. So I'd put my notes in, next payment run. And we've got some suggested objections here as well. So when somebody gives you a reason, you can then go back to them to get more detail. So it's just a bit of a prompt so you never forget where to go next. So if she's promised to pay the full amount on the next payment run, and her next payment run will be next Friday, let's say, so the 26th of August, I can then set a time and hit create reminder. So if that payment still hasn't been received by the 26th at 6:30, I'm going to get another reminder put into my diary to say that I need to call her back again. We can also amend the amount promised as well. Sometimes customers don't agree to pay everything. Sometimes they will just pay a portion of the invoice. So we can amend that to whatever they've agreed to pay as well. And then I will hit stop chase. So you'll see here, I can either include or exclude this invoice from automated letters. So I'm going to exclude them for now because we've got an answer. Finish chase, complete the task. That's all done. And I can move on then to my next task for the day. So we'll use this one as an example next. So I'll show you how to create a dispute and how that will look. So again, start chase. And you will see down here as well to the right hand side, a timer then starts kicking off. So I'm going to just draw your attention to it for the time being. I'm not going to explain too much about it. I will come back to it shortly. But yeah, just remember that that was there. Okay, so if we're contacting Helen Robson here at Sinead Smith Interiors, and she has got a dispute, so she's disputing the invoice amount, what I can do is add dispute, and we're given a bunch of reasons. And again, these are completely customizable. These reasons aren't going to be applicable to every business. Again, you'll have whatever is relevant to your business, so your most common dispute reasons. I'm going to click goods faulty for this one. So what I can then start to do is build out my dispute. So if Helen has advised that the kitchen that she received is faulty, and it was the cupboard, kitchen cupboard faulty, and then we can add our internal notes in as well. So this will go to whoever we're assigning this dispute to, because the collections advisor is probably not going to be the one to deal with it. So needs new kitchen cupboard, needs organised, as an example, and we're going to assign this over to the warehouse manager, and then we might need to copy in the sales director as well, because we're going to need to send out a new item. We can put how much we are disputing. So because it was only the cupboard, and perhaps they've got other cupboards within the order, we'll only dispute £600. And what we can then do is introduce an SLA. So if I want to review this by next Tuesday, and I want to resolve it by Friday, I can do that. Okay, so then we're going to save and close. We'll stop that chase. Again, because it's a dispute, I'm going to exclude them from automated letters because they're already unhappy, and I don't want to keep sending them reminders. Then I'll hit finish chase. Now what I can then do is send a dispute notification to the client, but I can also send an internal copy as well. And I can preview what that will look like. So this is the client version, and this is where Spindle comes into it. So this is the dispute notification. All I would do is hit print to Spindle, because Spindle is essentially just a printer. Spindle does its thing, and if I open up my emails in my drafts folder, I should have the dispute notification here. So this is what the customer would then receive. So again, this is where Spindle really comes into its own, and we're adding the branding on here and our logos. We're adding promotional messaging into the email itself. We're adding attachments, so we've got the dispute notification document as well as a copy of the invoice included as well. And if I just open up the invoice, so you can see what kind of document they're receiving. So again, we're including the branding on here. We've got, you know, a complete look and feel. The brand identity of the document is there. And then we've got a pay now button automatically included on there. So all that customer needs to do is hit that pay now button, and it takes 2 seconds to enter their credit card details and pay that invoice straight away. So really supporting getting that payment quickly. What I will show you quickly as well is, so again, utilizing Spindle, the reminder letters that are sent out look like this. So again, it's completely consistent. We've got the preemptive chase letter included, as well as the invoice, and everything has been customized using Spindle. Again, if I open up the chase letter, so you'll see we've got everything that we had on the other documents as well. So really providing that kind of professionalism and consistency. If I come back into Credit Hound, I'm going to close down that preview. Again, we can have an internal copy of that dispute report go out. We don't have to. Then if I click finish and stop chase and complete, that's another to-do item crossed off my list. Now, all of the information that we're putting into Credit Hound, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to not be able to then extract it and analyze it. So this is where the reporting system comes in really handy. The first one I'm going to show you, so we've got a lot of reports already pre-built into the system. And again, the parameters of the report can be completely customized according to what you want to see. I'm going to run this user activity report. And if you recall, whilst we were in the chase screen, I pointed out that we had that little timer start. This is where you can start to analyse that. So the user activity report tells me per user how many accounts I've chased, how long I've spent chasing them on an individual basis and on the whole as well. I can see all my chase history. So I could run that on a weekly basis if I want to really analyse what I'm up to. But also for the chase time, if I'm spending a particularly long amount of time chasing one customer, that tells me that I need to be amending my processes with them. So I might want to start taking a deposit or change their payment terms or whatever the case might be. But to be able to get insight into that without Credit Hound would be really, really difficult. So it's opening up more doors and getting us a different view of our business. Also talking about disputes as well. So if I want to analyse the amount of disputes that I'm getting, I can do the dispute analysis report. And this will tell me how many, the percentage of my disputes by each reason. So I can see here that the largest portion of disputes that I get are because goods are faulty, and that equates to 59,900, so just under £60,000. I can then see the different figures for my other reasons as well. But just because this is the largest portion, if I scroll down a little bit, it doesn't mean it's the one that takes the longest to resolve. So actually, the goods not received takes us 24 days to resolve, whereas the fact that goods are faulty takes us 4 days. So again, it gives us a little bit more insight and more data and information to kind of analyse what we're up to and how we can perhaps change things to work better. Alongside that, we can just run a simple accounts report and just get a real thorough rundown of all of our accounts. So whether they're on stop, what their credit balances are, how long we've spent chasing them, how many reminders they've had. Every little bit of information that's been put into Credit Hound essentially will be held here within that report. And there's a whole host of other reports here. I'm not going to go into all of them individually, but that just gives you a little bit of an idea of how much data you can then extract from Credit Hound. Okay. So that was Credit Hound in a nutshell. Now, just to move on to some of our customer feedback. So with Instant, we helped change their whole process and supported them with growing their company. With Swan Staff, they just loved how user-friendly it was and being able to have all the information at their fingertips. With AM to PM, they noticed that we reduced their workload and saved them 20 hours per week, preventing them needing to hire another person. Now, I appreciate that all businesses have completely different reasons for wanting to automate their accounts receivables, whether that be because they want to grow or just to improve the process for the users, whether it be to save time or prevent needing to hire more staff. Whatever the reason might be, we've helped all of our customers achieve all of those things. So to wrap up, do we have any questions at all? I'm just going to open the chat. Okay, so does Credit Hound support multiple companies? Yes, we absolutely can. So the way it would work, each company would have their own dashboard. And when it comes to communications with Spindle, we can make sure that the correct branding and logos are included on documents being sent to. So actually, it's a perfect tool if you have multiple companies. How long does it take to install and configure? So a typical install is around 1 to 2 days with training included. And once trained as a user, you'll then be able to make any configuration changes to Credit Hound that you need to. So you've got complete freedom and flexibility with rules and configurations. Can customers pay from a link on the invoice? Yes, they absolutely.
Answering question.
So it's what's called a pay now button. and we can include that on all invoices being sent, as well as a pay link in the email body itself as well. And how is Credit Hound licensed? So pricing is based per named user license. So each user who will need access to Credit Hound will need a license. And we do have a management user license as well. So for example, if you've got an FD who perhaps just needs to run reports and doesn't actually need to be chasing customers, then they could have a limited access license. I believe that was the final question. Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, so with that, I'll hand back to Angela. But thank you very much for your time. If you do have any questions, please reach out to Faye or myself, of course. Or if you would like pricing, please reach out to Faye. But yes, I'll hand back to you now, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. And on behalf of Pur-Logic Solutions, we'd like to thank you so much to you, Tyler, and to everyone who was able to join us today to learn more about Credit Hound. Once again, we will be emailing you a copy of today's recording. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send them our way. Thank you.